So Hunter was easily distracted, easily led by other students, would respond to situations physically rather than using his words.
Being able to see him reading and learning how to express his feelings better than what I have, especially over the last few years dealing with the cancer side of things and that, and actually basically seeing how he's managing to do it actually shows me that there's so much more I could be learning and so much more I could be doing to not only help myself with all my emotions, but helping him growing up and seeing our emotions.
My one wish, I suppose, is that children, when they came to school, had an emotional balance in their life, because life at home is good for them.
I found this year in particular, my children struggled a lot with social issues.
When I was a teacher, there was no way that I could be aware of what was going on in the lives of each child, because to pump out 30 lessons a week within the time frame that you had, you were in survival mode in essence.
The same little girl, actually, she's probably the biggest emotional child in the classroom, and she was getting really frustrated one day, not knowing what it was about, because once again she won't talk about it, and she just sits there and digs her heels in it and won't work.
We do want schools to be all about literacy and numeracy, but we also know that the way we learn depends on how our brains are functioning, and our brains function in relation to the environment that they experience. Particularly as children are developing, they're marvellously adapted to cope with what's around them. And if what's around them is stressful, dangerous, uncertain, chaotic, then they adapt to survival in that space. But the brain shifts the whole body into a state of be alert, this could be a survival situation, you need to attend to what can hurt you or harm you and how to manage the uncertain chaos that could come next. A child in that state is not in a state where they're ready to take in new challenging information, such as this is the alphabet, this is how the alphabet fits together to make words, this is how we add up sums. And I think, to put it to how adults function in learning, if you were being charged by an angry water buffalo, would you A, take the time to read a book about how to escape a water buffalo, or simply react as fast as you could to save yourself?
With children, often what we see is a child throws a chair, for example, and we automatically think that child is mad. But if a child has no language in which to communicate how they're feeling, that child might be disappointed because they didn't complete a task. They might be frustrated. They might be anxious because something's coming up they don't want to do. They might be worried. They might be scared. But it's coming out as anger because that's the only way in which they can communicate it. And we see that same thing happen in the workplace. When an adult doesn't have language to communicate their feelings, they complain about the boss, or they yell at the boss, or they yell at someone else in the workplace, which causes major issues. But really the simple crux of the problem is an inability to actually communicate how they're feeling.
Well, to me, the Wellbeing Classroom is a way of thinking about what's happening in a classroom context that puts children's needs, their social and emotional needs, at the forefront. And this is something that actually came to me as a teacher a long time ago. But I realised that when I started to tune into that and to think about every second of every day and every minute of every day and every hour of every day, and think about it from the point of view of how well I was meeting children's social and emotional needs and attending to them and their well-being as human beings, really, then all the academic stuff went a whole lot better.
Well, in the Wellbeing Classroom, we use a number of strategies to help children develop a social emotional language, to develop pro-social skills, to develop an understanding of the world, and to help them on their journey in terms of learning and developing as a human being. Some of those resources include kimochis, which is the Japanese word for feelings. Kimochis are soft plush toys or characters that allow children to physically see their personality, to see personalities of others, to work out how those interact and how those engage with one another.
I like Cat because she is sometimes angry like me. She helps people with her band-aids. She gets angry sometimes because she doesn't get her way.
But also it's a tool to help them unpack various feeling words or feelings vocabulary.
Claire, can you pick a feeling which you have at recess time? What feeling did you have at recess time, Claire? Great, come out the front. You have to be brave. Now, what? Can you show the class the feeling face? Now, what feeling do you think this one is?
Optimistic.
Optimistic, what a big word. And can you tell me, why are you feeling optimistic?
Because I'm being kind to my friends.
Fantastic. And do you think being kind to your friends is going to be a good thing? Why?
Because I'll be playing with them.
Great, you get to play with them, all right.
So it's important when we're teaching children and parents about emotions, about feelings, about circumstances in life, that we actually help them understand both the positive and the negative. Because let's face it, life is not positive all the time. There will always be challenges. And what builds character is when we are able to work our way through those challenges.
Okay, Alex, in a big loud voice, can you tell the class what feeling you have chosen?
Mad.
Why have you chosen mad?
Because I didn't go in the picture.
You didn't get a turn in the picture?
At the gate.
Ah, and what happens when you feel mad? What do you do?
I get cross.
You get cross. What does your body do? Can you show us with your body? Ah, I saw that at recess time. You did look very cross, didn't you?
I know.
And how are you feeling now?
I'm happy.
Happy now? Great. Because did your brother come and cheer you up?
Yeah.
Great.
You know, we have this food pyramid that allows us to pick and choose what we eat. What would it look like if we had something similar to pick and choose what sorts of time we engage our brain with? So the Healthy Mind Platter basically says these 7 types of time, which include sleep time, play time, downtime, in time, focus time, connecting time, and physical time. They put the brain in the best possible spot to be as plastic as possible.
So James, the Wellbeing Coordinator, had spoken to me about the Healthy Mind Platter, which are all the things our brain needs across the day. This sign means for them to focus. So when I'm in a teaching phase or I want them at their seat doing their work, I clip this focus badge to me. You know, if we're doing fitness, it's the activity because our brain needs activity. Relaxation after lunch, our body needs to relax, and we've talked about, you know, the problems they might have in the yard or the fact that they've just been active, and so now it's time to relax. After relaxation, on a couple of days a week, we actually do a feelings diary, and this is tuning in to our feelings. So the children get a chance to say, well, after lunch I'm feeling sad because, so it's trying to get them to understand that there's a reason why they're feeling that way.
The purpose of the feelings tree is to regulate their feelings throughout the day. So they can see how they're feeling, change how they're feeling, use the strategies we've taught them, and then hopefully get back to being happy or kind or friendly.
Cheyenne, you were feeling, where was it? Were you feeling a bit like this before? How were you feeling just before? Can you find it? What about this one? Were you feeling like that before? And now, how are you feeling? Show us. Can you say it? Happy. Feeling happy.
We work with the axiom that it takes a village to raise a child, and it really does. And it's the parents, it's the teachers, but it's the peers that are really critical. And children particularly are most influenced by peers.
I think in the beginning I didn't quite understand what it was about.
The classroom teacher, Marilyn, said that she really didn't have a really good grasp on the Kimochis, and so I use it as my tool to be able to introduce the vocabulary, the strategies, and also the advocacy towards her and the students in the classroom about the importance of wellbeing and the daily conversations between students themselves and the teachers and the wider community as well.
After the 5 weeks with working with Anne, I really felt like I could take it on, because now I knew what it was about, and kind of take ownership of it and use it in my classroom.
How do you think you would cost?
So the Wellbeing Classroom is not just for children experiencing trauma or stress. The idea behind it is, for years we've been trying to, in inverted commas, fix, the naughty kids, fix those kids that have all the problems. When in reality, life is messy. And actually most of us have challenges and most of us have joys in our daily life. That's part of how we go about things. So the Wellbeing Classroom is saying, rather than take those kids out, rather than pull them out, put them in a test tube, inject them with some miracle cure and put them back, which has not been working since time immemorial, it's saying let's create a community involving parents, involving teachers, involving the school leadership, involving the wider community. They can actually respond to needs together, can support each other, can grow each other, and can actually help one another resolve the challenges in life.
The thing I noticed about parents was that parents whose children were struggling socially and emotionally were acutely aware that this was the case, and they were distressed about it. They wanted to change it, but they didn't know how. And when the Wellbeing Classroom came along with its resources and its language and its new opportunities, and they saw the changes happen in their children, they were really delighted.
When she comes home, she sort of tells me how she's feeling and, "Are you mad, Mum?" And I'll say, "No, I'm frustrated." And then she'll say, "Well, you have to put up the happy or the sad face." So she's learning about different emotions and why she's feeling that way. We talk about why she's feeling that way.
She has improved, like this term compared to last term. She has improved with expressing herself and explaining things. So what Samantha's been teaching in class has been brilliant anyway.
So it's affected our classroom and changed it by getting the kids ready for learning quicker. So we have less problems because we can talk about them quickly, find a solution faster, and then they're ready for learning. So they're missing less of their learning time.
The little bits that I'm hearing are about changed attitudes and behaviours in the kids. And so I'm believing and understanding that these kids are starting to know that they've got feelings and other people have got feelings, and that their feelings count and other people's feelings count. And if they can put words, if they can articulate it, they get a bit of power over that. And rather than, "Oh, I'm a bit confused, I think I'll hurt someone," "I'm a bit confused, hey, I'm a bit confused, I'll ask for help," might be the result out of all of that. And what better outcome could there possibly be?
Yes, some families have talked to me about the fact that they have really appreciated the involvement in the program because in situations at home, when there's been a conflict situation or a situation where things haven't been hunky-dory, the children are expressing themselves. "I'm feeling this way because," or "I need to do this because," and this is in particular with the early years children. And also the parents have appreciated that and have started to mimic or mirror that language and use that language with the children, so it's been reinforced at home and at school.
We developed this part of the model called family learning events, where we invited whole families to come together and learn about the resources that we've been using in the classroom. And the first time we did one of those, we thought we might get 2 or 3 parents, but we ended up with just over 70 people from the one class of 27 children. So we had mums, dads, grandparents, siblings, you name it, whoever is in the family, whoever's in the household. And the exciting thing was when we got there for that first family learning event, and we still see it today with every learning event that happens, that the parents are already using the language, they're already speaking what we've been speaking in the classroom. We haven't told them, the classroom teacher hasn't told them. What we know is the children are taking it home. The children are taking it home to their parents. And I think for me, or for us as Schools Ministry Group, that is probably the highlight, the most significant change that has happened. And if we can see that change happen in every classroom across the state, you can just imagine the difference that would make to the way our children move through their schooling life.
And so I started to educate me a bit about how this actually works and how it's working. And even though it's early days, I've been able to say to my church, you know, who help supply the food for those family early nights, look, we're contributing to something very meaningful here.
It's an extraordinary opportunity for hope, and it would be great to have that kind of support available really to all parents and all children.
So a problem I've helped, well, some of the children in my class was that they were getting bullied at recess and lunch. So we spoke about how it made them feel and how we could talk to the bully, and it solved it, because then they ended up saying sorry, and then the boys were like, that's really good of you to apologise, it was brave of you, and so that was really, yeah, it was cool. Yeah, and I think they're all friends now, which is nice.
Hunter is, I would say, a completely different person now, different student. He's just so much more, he's happier, he's enthusiastic, he loves being at school. He's changed throughout the process of doing the Wellbeing Classroom.
His progress in such a short span doing this program, and that it's really amazing to actually see him growing up.